How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Grand Archive video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we have our very first Grand Archive Pantheon deck tech. I built my very first deck, and of course it is Tristan, as you would guess. This deck is a Wind Umbra deck, and it is so much fun. It is really, really cool. I love this format. There's a lot of spicy tech in here that I think a lot of people haven't thought about yet or considered for Pantheon. I'm just gonna spoil it all today. You're gonna get a lot of spicy tech from this video. So yeah, without further ado, if you like the Grand Archive content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, maybe hype the video to push it out there so more people can see that. I just really want more people to check out Pantheon and dive into it. I think it's just a brilliant format and kind of like, I don't know, is breathing new life into Grand Archive for me personally. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our top down and talk about our very first Pantheon deck. Tristan, let's do it.
All right, so let's start talking about this deck. Yo, I'm really excited for Pantheon. It's just so much fun. Before we get to the deck itself, I want to give a quick word from our sponsor. It's me, myself, the Red Zone Rogue merch store. Specifically, we have playmats like this over on the Red Zone Rogue merch store with art from TCG industry artists. This one, in fact, is by a Grand Archive artist, Faicha, who has done work for, well, this and other cards in the deck. So if you want some excellent merchandise from myself to help support the channel, but also features artwork from TCG industry artists, like artists that work on Grand Archive, go check it out, redzonerogue.com. Yeah, so let's get to this. By the way, this is the idea behind this piece was Faicha's the person who did our official collab card with Grand Archive, the Korhazi Courier. And so I was like, okay, let's take the Korhazi Couriers, because the character depicted in the Korhazi Courier is our first Project Renzo character and channel mascot and main character Katsumi Kadako. And I was like, okay, let's kind of update her. Let's give her an advanced element, and we gave her Astra. So this is an Astra assassin. So yeah, very, very, very happy with how this piece turned out. Anyway, let's get started. So I have the actual deck here, including the material deck and the main deck, and then we have we got a lot of tokens. We have 30 ominous shadow tokens. I know we might be dreaming a little big here, but we're gonna be dreaming big with the ominous shadow tokens. And I also have a handful of potential cards that I either included in the deck and cut at one point or another, or I'm considering, or whatever. So we'll talk about these in due time, and then we'll kind of set the tokens aside for when we talk about cards that make the tokens. So let's go ahead and talk about our material deck first, and then we'll talk about our boons, and then we'll talk about the rest of the deck. I've been thinking about this deck a lot and really fine-tuning it, and it's been tricky just narrowing it down to 60 cards. That's the hardest part, especially the material deck, only narrowing it down to 12 cards. There's so many cards I want to include here, but just can't because of space limitations, especially since we're running both Shadow Reaver and Shadow Dancer. So our champion lineage eats up 5 of the cards, which is quite a big chunk. So we'll go from top to bottom. So the spirit of choice that I've decided for this deck is the Fragmented Spirit of Wind. And why? Well, because it gives us that glimpse, but we still get to draw that card later when we get to level 3, because on enter it also creates this spirit fragment token, which we can then cash it in later once we're level 3 to draw a card. So we still get the glimpse and we get to draw a card. I also considered the Spirit of Serenity, so we can get that heal, but I feel like we should be fine. We run a lot of defensive stuff, and I just like the extra card draw. And we definitely want the extra card draw so we can play some of our big stuff. So there is the Spirit, and of course we have our standard Tristan lineage. I am going to go over all the cards just in case you don't know what they do, but I'm going to try to be fairly quick about it. Maybe I'll just try to summarize what she does. So basically on enter we can get a prep counter, or we get agility 3. Prep counter is really good. Agility 3 can be good, but we're mostly just going to get the prep counter from our level 1. And becoming Assassin is pretty good for a lot of the synergy cards in our deck. For the level 2, we really want to go into this with 4 prep counters so we can get the double card draw. We are playing Pantheon, so we can kind of wait until we get there. It's not like a big race because just for the fact that we start with the Pantheon barrier means we have a lot of time to set up. And we'll talk about the Pantheon barrier more when we get to the end of this, but just know that we basically start with an additional 6 health that also extends to all of our units as well. So it's just really good. All of our allies, just everything. So yeah, it's just a nice little barrier that helps protect us. So we can wait. So just wait till you get 4 so you can get that extra 2 card draw. And then we have the Shadow Reaver and the Shadow Dancer. So this is the kind of deck, once again, that we probably just want to go to Reaver first to get that value. Reaver specifically says that we can level her up into a champion of the same base level. And it's also Tristan lineage. So basically we can just level up to Shadow Dancer from Shadow Reaver. So it's one of the only champions in the game where you can go from 3 to 3 of the same, which is really, really nice. And also relevant for our only D level card. And then also, she gets to banish the top 4 cards of target opponent's deck face down. And as long as they're banished, we can play them, which is so good. It's just really, really good. Just pick your opponent that has like the spiciest deck, and then you get 4 cards from the top of their deck. It's really nice. And then, of course, Shadow Dancer is awesome. We get a prep counter, and we also get 2 ominous shadows, which is really relevant. And then we can remove 2 prep counters, and then change the target of an attack that targets us to one of our shadows. And so now let's talk about one of the ominous shadows here. I'll just pull up a base version, not like this fancy Lucky Yuki token that I have. So this is an ominous shadow. It's a really important part of our deck. They have a base cost of 3 for things that care about that, but most of our effects just summon them, put them directly into play. There are 1/4s. They are token Fantasia allies. They're also assassin shadows. They're unblockable, which is absolutely fantastic. And it says, if damage be dealt to ominous shadow, prevent 3 of that damage. They're really, really tanky. If you want to kill them in one shot, you basically have to do 7 damage to them, provided they don't have any other buffs. And it also says, Ominous Shadow can only declare attacks against units your champion has dealt combat damage to this turn. So that's one of the big, downsides of the shadows. You can only attack with them if Tristan has hit another champion. But we have some ways around that. We do have one way around that. And so a lot of our cards are going to be about making ominous shadows. Tristan herself makes a couple ominous shadows, but we have cards that will make a couple or more. Like with our ultimate, we might be able to make a bunch of them. So yeah, if you're going to make this deck, get at least a nice little handful. I have 30 prepped. Maybe that's a little optimistic, but yeah, you know what? We can maybe get there. So ominous shadows, extremely important. Keep that in mind as we talk about the rest of the deck here. We'll just put the. Well, we're gonna want to talk about this later, but we're gonna put that right there. Looks very nice, very nice. Okay, and so yeah, that's our Tristan. That's our kind of final form of Tristan, our Shadow Dancer. So once again, we get some shadows, we get a prep counter, and then we also redirect attacks that are targeting us to the shadows, so they can kind of absorb damage. We have Shadow's Claw. This card is just amazing. We can basically just play it for free if we have 4 more prep counters once we hit Umbra. Like, we just play it anytime from our material deck outside of the material phase just for free if we have 4 prep counters, which is awesome. It's a 1/3, and then also Fantasia allies we control can attack using the Shadow's Claw. So all of our shadows can attack using the Shadow's Claw. When they do, you put a durability counter on this. So basically, it doesn't lose a durability counter. So essentially, these will all get like an additional +1 attack. They have 1 base attack, and so if you have the Shadow Claw out, then they all are using the Shadow's Claw and can deal that extra bit of damage, which is really, really nice. You basically want to save this so you can smash in with your shadows. It has 3 durability counters, so you can actually use this to attack with Tristan and then pile in with your shadows, but just be very careful. We're running a lot of attacks in the deck. I think we're running 8, so it'll help facilitate attacking with the shadows. Now we have some stuff that I really debated on, right? So these are some assassin staples. They're both extremely good, and I did decide to go with them in the end. We have the Assassin's Ripper, which is the only other weapon we are running other than Shadow's Claw. And I wanted another material deck way to just be able to trigger the attacks with the shadows. And Assassin's Ripper is fantastic. It's 1 attack, 2 base durability, and you can remove a prep counter from the champion, and then the Ripper gets +2 for the whole turn. So that's really good. It gets an attack of 3. And then we can, basically use that additional bonus to do a lot of damage with some of the other stuff, with specifically Slice and Dice and Coup de Grace. Yes, we are running Coup de Grace in the deck, and it is sweet. So yeah, this can actually do a ton of damage. We'll talk about that when we get to Coup de Grace. And then we have Poison Dagger. Poison Dagger just deals a damage to something, and then until end of turn, if it takes damage, it would take that much +1. So that also makes all of our shadows deal an additional point of damage to a player. But what's really cool about this in Pantheon specifically is you can do this on one person that's being attacked by another person. Like, it doesn't have to be like on your attack. It doesn't only increase your damage, it can increase all damage that they take, right? If that unit would take damage at all, it takes that much +1. So you can kind of use this politically as well. Or if someone's like, okay, we need to kill this person, you can Poison Dagger them, and then someone else could like kill them. So I don't know, this card's really cool in Pantheon. It's one of the reasons why I really wanted to put it in the deck. And we're also running Gloam Spire Mantle. I've really loved this card ever since it was revealed. It hasn't been super competitive viable, but I think it's actually cracked in Pantheon. So it's just a 0-cost Regalia. And on Tristan, on enter, if you're Tristan, you can pay 3 and you get an Ominous Shadow, which is great. Basically what you'll do is you want to wait until you have 3 cards in your hand when you materialize. And so you can immediately get that shadow. And then when you recollect, you'll get those cards back, which is really nice. So basically you get this out when you have at least 3 cards in hand. But the most important part about this, and this is crazy, is it says Umbra Element Fantasia allies, so all our shadows, all the shadows, have ambush. The ones that we control have ambush. Now, why is that crazy? Well, ambush works in a way that it's busted in multiplayer. Ambush says they may retaliate against attackers while not defending. Those attackers do not have to be attacking us. If one person is attacking, like one of our opponents is attacking another one of our opponents, we can still ambush them. So it's just wild. Anytime anyone attacks at all, our shadows can just ambush. And so this is one of the ways that our shadows can deal damage, even if we aren't able to attack and have the shadows kind of all pile in. They can still all ambush something. Yeah, this is nuts. This is actually extremely powerful. And if you're playing Tristan in Pantheon, no matter what elements you're playing, as long as you're getting to Umbra, you should put this in your deck. It is nuts. It is crazy good. We're also running Wind Walker Boots. Yeah, we get a prep counter every single turn if our champion's awake, and we can cash it in later for a card draw. This is amazing. This is just super good. We're also running a very generic Grand Crusader's Ring. It just lets us draw a card. Yeah, I wasn't sure what Divine Relic I wanted to use, but I think just drawing a card is great in Pantheon, and we really want to have that card advantage. So yeah, this was kind of an easy include. And then we're also running a new Pantheon staple, in my opinion. This is a card that comes in the starter decks. It's like a GCR, but you give your opponent a materialize. And you can use this in really fun ways. So it's a 0 cost, you banish it, you get a draw card, and then target opponent can materialize a card from their material deck. Now what you can do is you can be like, yo, who else is running Equinox Hour? And then someone can be like, oh, I am. And then you can be like, hey, if I use my Equinox Hour and let you materialize, then you materialize your Equinox Hour and then pop it and let me do the materialize. And you can be like, okay. So that basically gives them a free card, but it lets us materialize another thing. Yeah, this is so good. It's so good. So yeah, and that is our material deck. I did include some Staxy type stuff originally, and I kind of want to bring it up right now. So here's some other cards that I initially had in the material deck, and I decided to cut them for various reasons. This is the one that I want to play the most. It's Memento Mori, and it says whenever an ally dies, you put a prize counter on this, and then you can banish it and draw 3 cards, only at slow speed and only if it has 6 or more prize counters. So if 6 allies have died, then you can crack this and draw 3 cards. That's really powerful. But I have a feeling people are just going to kill this. It's going to sit around and it's going to get to 5 counters and people are going to be like, let's kill it. So that's the reason I haven't added it in yet, but I think it's really spicy and I think it's a good option. Then there's also just Nullifying Lantern. Yeah, you can put this in. If decks become too degenerate in this format, you might have to put this in. So this is one that I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to kind of keep it at the ready to put in. Same with Safeguard Amulet. We are running the Safeguard Paragon in the deck, which is an ally that does this. But if the decks get too degenerate, you might have to put this in the deck. And then Thurible, I think, is just like fine in Pantheon. I'd rather just run like a GCR Windwalker Boots. There's a lot of just 0 cost draw cards, including this one, which is another Pantheon card from the starter decks. It's from the Lorraine starter deck. It's a 0 cost, and you can banish it and draw a card, but you can only activate this if you have Crowd's Favor, which is a new token that we'll talk about when we get to a card that does Crowd's Favor. And then we have a bunch of other stuff that we'll talk about at the end. But yeah, those are the considerations for the material deck. Now let's talk about my boons. So in Pantheon, you're going to choose a lesser boon and a greater boon. And the boons start in play face down, and then you can flip them up whenever you could play them, basically. They are you cannot respond to them. So your opponent can't respond to them, they can't counter them or mess with them. Once you activate it, you get the effect. So we are running the lesser boon of Zarusa. This is a 0 cost, slow speed, class lock boon, so we have to be an assassin. It's an assassin spell. And we can pay 2 at any time to put a prep counter on our champion. That's really good. This ability costs 1 more to activate for each time you've activated this game. So it'll cost 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. But this is just an amazing way to get prep counters on our champion. We have a lot of prep counter generators in the deck. I think we have close to 9 to 10 prep generators and 9 to 10 prepared cards in the deck. So we have like a decent way to use them and a decent way to generate them. But we also have just an onboard way to do it. This card's super good. And then we also are running the Greater Boon of Inari. This one's really interesting. It's a 3 cost, class locked, level 2 locked. So we can only play this when we're assassin at level 2. It's slow. It says whenever we gain agility, our champion's next attack this turn against another champion gets +2 attack. And it says whenever, and then we can also remove a prep counter from our champion and get agility 3. We can only activate this at slow speed and only once per turn. Agility 3 basically means at the end of our turn, we get to pick 3 cards from our memory and bring them back to our hand, which is super good. So this is a way to get cards back to our hand and to pump up our Tristan's attacks, only against champions, but we have a lot of attacks that can just hit really hard and help close out the game. So yeah, very good. So those are the 2 boons. We have prep counter generator and then like this agility payoff kind of deal. And we can also use our prep counters for it. So yeah, those are the 2 boons. These are not in the starter decks. These are ones that are going to be in Radiant Origins. If you're wondering where I got these at the Creator Summit. And then we have the Pantheon Barrier. Now, we already talked about the Pantheon Barrier. It basically just starts in play. It has Omni Shroud. If damage is dealt to another object we control, the damage is dealt to the barrier instead, and it has 6 health. Basically just kind of slows the game down at the start, protects all of your dudes, including yourself. It's just really good, and it makes it so we can kind of do like a nice little setup. So that is the material deck and our kind of like our starting Pantheon loadout. Now let's get on to the main deck here, and I guess I should probably clean this up a little bit at least, because I'm like, this is going to get out of control. As you hopefully know, Pantheon is a singleton format, so you can only play 1 of each card in your deck. So we have a lot of cards to go over here. And unlike a format like Commander, there's no lands or anything, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. I've essentially sorted these all by effect type or card, not really card type, mostly like effect type. So our first little batch here is cards that generate shadows, ominous shadows. So we have our ultimate spell, the Curtain of Shadows. This was my spoiler card for Radiant Origins. This is a 10 cost action assassin ultimate spell. Tristan bonus, you summon X ominous shadows, where X is the number of prep counters on your champion. So you want to build up a whole bunch of prep counters, and then you play this, and you get a ton of shadows, and then you probably just win the game after that. And you also have a rest of the game effect. So it says for the rest of the game, allies named ominous shadow we control get +1 attack, and they have on hit put a prep counter on your champion. So you want to go big on this, and then you can kind of spend a bunch of your prep counters, and then have your shadows pile in, and you get all those prep counters back. It's kind of crazy. But it does cost 10, so you do need to build up to it. But once you do, this is our big finisher, and this is why we want to have a lot of shadows here. So yeah, that card's kind of wild. Now we have one of my favorite Tristan cards that I like to put this in all the decks. People never expect this. We have Penumbral Waltz. This is a 0 cost, fast, action assassin skill reaction. As additional cost to activate this, remove X prep counters from our champion. Then we prevent the next X +3 damage that we dealt to our champion this turn. And then if X is 3 or greater, we summon 2 ominous shadow tokens. So at the base level, you can pay 0 to prevent 3, but you basically want to do 3 preps, or remove 3 prep counters, prevent 6, and then create 2 shadows. Yeah, super solid defensive card. We have a whole section talking about defensive cards, by the way, but I wanted to put this in the shadow section. We have Grim Foreboding, another great shadow card. We summon an ominous shadow, and then we pump all of our shadows by +1, and we also get Agility 3, which will then trigger our greater boon, which is great. So it'll give us +2 on our next attack as well. So excellent. Then we also have Shadow Resonance. This is a 2-cost fast assassin skill. We recover 2 and draw a card, which is great. And then if our champion has 4 more prep counters, we summon a shadow. So recover 2, draw a card, summon a shadow. Perfect. We also have Shifting Mirage. This one's a little, I don't know, but I still like it in the deck. I'm including some fun jank. And I would consider this one a little jank. It's a 3-cost fast, well, it's a 2-cost fast because it says class bonus, this card costs 1 less to activate. It's an assassin skill reaction. And it says our champion gains stealth until end of turn unless an opponent pays 2. So any opponent, which makes this tricky because if people don't like you, someone can pay for this, and then you don't get that stealth, and you probably die. Because you're probably using this when you're about to die. It also just says, summon a shadow. Perfect. And then we also have another card that you've probably never heard of before. We have the Possessed Remnant. It's a 3-cost, 3/1 assassin human ally. Assassin's really important for the ally type for one specific card we'll talk about later. And it says, Tristan bonus, on death, you summon an ominous shadow, and we heal 3. Great. So when it dies, we get a shadow and we heal for 3. And so yep, these are all the shadow generators. And I believe at the time of this recording, these are all the ones that I have access to. So if there's more in Radiant Origins, we'll be adding them to the deck when the time comes. All right, let's talk about our attacks. So we are running a healthy amount of attacks in the deck. We need the attacks, 1, to help remove things, but 2, so we can hit someone and then have all of our ominous shadows pile in. So we have Shadow Strike. Yeah, it's the Tristan finisher. I don't know what to say. It's just you can prep X. X can't be 0. This gets +X, and if it was prepared, it's unblockable. So this is kind of like the nasty little like wombo combo with the Curtain of Shadows, because what you do is you summon a bunch of ominous shadow tokens with Curtains of Shadow, and then you Shadow Strike. You can spend whatever prep you want. Maybe you want to go all in. You want to spend all, maybe say 15. Maybe say you'll 15. So you do 15, you hit someone for 19, and then all of your shadows can attack, and you'll get a prep counter back. Even if it's not 15, even if it's like, I don't know, 6, right? Say you do 6, and this hits someone for 10. So you do 10 unblockable to your opponent, and then you have all 6 of your shadows, or maybe even more than that, just kind of like smash in for 2 damage a pop because we've done the Curtains of Shadow, and they'll all get a prep counter back. So yeah, it's crazy. It's really good. Good finisher. We also have Slice and Dice, our other really powerful finisher. It's a 2-cost attack that does 3 damage on prepare. Well, it has prepare 3, and on hit, if it was prepared, you can have the attacker declare an additional attack. If you do, you create a copy of Slice and Dice in the attacker's intent, except it isn't prepared, and gets +3. So basically, we do a 3 attack and then a 6 attack. But if we have, and if you might not know this, but a lot of Assassin players will know this. If you have Assassin's Ripper in play, and you do the thing where Assassin's Ripper gets +3, well, then you can attack twice with the Assassin's Ripper with the Slice and Dice. So it'll be a 6 and then 9. So it's basically a 15 damage attack with just the Ripper. So, push comes to shove, you can just end someone's life with this card. All right. Coup de grace. This is a card that I've wanted to work ever since the first set, and we're going to make it work in Pantheon. We're going to make it work. So this is a 4-cost, 4 attack assassin dagger attack. It has prep 4, which is a lot. And then class bonus on attack. If it was prepared, it gains critical 4. And so what critical says is if attack damage would be dealt by a source with critical 4, double that damage unless an opponent discards 4 cards. Now, this also says an opponent. It doesn't say that opponent. So another player could discard for this, presumably. I'm not sure on the Pantheon wording on critical, because like who plays with any card that has critical these days? But what makes this so spicy as the base 4 attack, right? Is you're like, okay, this can deal like 4 damage. But we can stack damage pretty easily with the deck. So if we are using the Poison Dagger, or not the Poison Dagger, the Ripper, we'll use the Ripper as an example. So if we're coming in with Coup de Grace with the Ripper, right, that's going to be a 7. that's pretty good. 7 doubled. But we also have our Boon of the Inari. So if we've also done prep, so if we remove a prep counter and get the agility, or we just have agility some other way, it'll also get an additional +2. So this will be a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is pretty good. So that's a 16 damage. Oh no, I'm sorry. I only counted 2 for the Ripper. So this is 9. It would be 18 damage. It'd be 18 damage. So yes, a lot. 18 damage is a lot. But it's a little, you know, it's a little, it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky. My goal with this deck is to kill someone with either coup de grace or final stroke. These are like some of our finishers. Like I consider these 4 our big finisher attacks. And these 2 are like, yeah, people get kills with these all the time. But these 2, this is where the spice is. This is where the real spice is. So we have coup de grace. One of the devs told me that they called this cut the grass. So we have cut the grass here. Shout out to Alan. And here we have final strokes. This is another one of my old spoiler cards, and I think it's so sweet. So it's a 4 cost, 5 attack. It has a prepare 3, and then class bonus on champion hit. If this was prepared and there are 20 or more damage counters on the hit champion, you just kill them. This is destroy the hit champion. So basically you want to attack someone with this when they have like 15 health, and then this will still deal the damage, and then it'll do the check for the hit. So you hit someone with that 15, and if they don't have any way to prevent it or anything, they just die. Great. So my goal is to kill someone with both of these. Both of these would be great. All right, let's talk about some other just generic attacks. So Clean Cut. I like Clean Cut. It's a really efficient card for Pantheon. It's a 2 cost, 2 attack. If you have level 2 or plus, or if you're level 2 plus, it has on kill draw card. So a great way to clean up just any small thing that's kind of like lying around. Just whack it for 2 and draw a card so it replaces itself. So I think this is really nice and efficient in Pantheon. We want a lot of ways to draw cards. Speaking of which, we have Thieving Cut. It's a 3 cost, it's a 2 cost 3 attack, prepare 1, and then on hit, if it was prepared, draw a card. Great. People can like mess with this and make it so it doesn't hit, but most of the time you can basically trade a prep counter for a draw, which is good. We also have Betraying Blade, 2 cost, 2 attack. You can pay an additional 2 when you attack with this, and you get a prep counter, which is great. This is one of our prep counter generators, and then also just has floating memory. So cool. And then we also have another prep counter generator with Razor Blade Execution. It's a 3 cost, 4 attack, imbue 3, and it says on kill, if it was imbued, you put a prep counter on your champion. So it's another way that just kind of rewards you for killing something. And 4 is a lot. 4 kills most things in Grand Archive right now. And so these 2 cards that generate prep counters are going to lead us into the prep counter generators. Oh, it's almost like I planned this out a little bit. So here we have our prep counter generators. And so here we have, these are the other prep counter generators that aren't the 2 attacks, or the our boon. So because there's no ban list currently in Pantheon, we can play Korhazi Outlook. So this is a 2 cost 1/3. On enter, you put a prep counter on your champion. Fantastic. And then also class bonus, remove a prep counter. Opponents can't activate cards this turn. Glimpse 1, activate this ability only during your turn. Yeah, this is busted. This is busted. This is probably going to get banned. This is busted. Yeah, you do this, no one can do anything, and then you just have your way, kill everyone. It's gross. This card's gross. And then we have Windblessed Lookout. By the way, enjoy this while you can. Assassin players, enjoy this while you can. We have Windblessed Lookout, the fixed version of the Korhazi Lookout. 2 cost 1/3, on enter, put a prep counter, and then also on enter, glimpse 1. Sure. Yeah. Does everything we want. That's nice. We're also running our Black Market Broker. It's just a 2/3, on enter, put a prep counter on our champion. And if we have 4 or 3 or more, it has stealth. So yeah, pretty solid. Once again, a lot of these are just for prep counter generation. And we have a lot of ways to, like, you know, suppress allies, so it kind of flickers them. So they'll come back into play, we'll get the prep counter again, or put them in our memory so we can play them again, or put them in our hand to play them again. We have a lot of ways to replay our dudes, so we can get some good advantage out of those. We're also running Sadie. This is probably the most expensive card in the deck, other than my CSR. This is a 2/2 that you can pay 2 and turn it to your hand, and if you do, you put a prep counter on your champion. And then also on kill, we get agility 3, which just also synergizes with our boon, just randomly. So Sadie's cracked in this deck even more so than usual, because she's really hard to kill, gives us prep counters, and also gives us agility 3. Yeah, she's very good. She's very, very good. Now we have some cards that you might not have seen. We have Imperial Spy. It's just a 2/1 with stealth. Then on kill, put a prep counter on a champion. So we just kind of like use this to help pick off things, and then we get prep counters when it kills stuff. Also, this card is really good with one removal that we'll talk about now. I was going to talk about it later, but we're going to jump to it now with Exploit Vulnerability. Now, this is a 2-cost that has Prepare 1. It just draws you a card. It also says, if it was prepared, choose an assassin unit you control, and it gains on ally hit, destroy the hit ally. So, first of all, that's one of the reasons why we care about having assassin allies. So we can use that on our assassin allies and they can get like free on-hit kills. Also, that card's good because it just draws us a card. But we can do that on Imperial Spy. It will kill the opponent's thing. We'll get the prep counter and we'll be very happy. So I like this card in the deck. I like this card. And then we also have Surveil the Winds, fast activation, draw card, prep counter. Good stuff, good stuff. And then we have Mastermind Scheme. This is our big prep counter doubler. It costs 6, but it has efficiency, so it costs a level less. So if our level 3, it only costs 3. It says double the number of prep counters on our champion. And if there are 8 or more prep counters on our champion after that, we gain agility 3 for the turn. So we get agility 3, bonus from our boon, and then we also double the prep counters. Yeah, you want to do this when you have like 5+, getting up to like 10, even more. You can generate a lot of prep counters in this deck, by the way. Like, the goal here is to get like 10+ prep counters and then play Mastermind Scheme and then go to 20 and then play our Curtain of Shadows and have like 20. And we have a wombo combo with that too to draw like a billion cards. So we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, this is a big important card of the deck for sure. All right, let's talk about some interaction. So we have a few counter spells. Spirel doubles as damage as well. She's a fairly complicated card. Another one of our spoilers, but she's so good. She's a 2-cost 0/4. On enter, you get to blast something for 3, and then you banish a card from your hand or memory face down. And then you can use her effect, and you reveal that card, and then you basically negate all, it says, negate each activation of cards with a reserve cost X, which is the reserve cost of the card that you revealed. So, say we banished Surveil the Winds, right? Banish Surveil the Winds, and then we activate Spirel. We've turned that up, and we're like, okay, now all the things that cost 2 are negated that are currently being played. And then we deal another 3 damage, and then we can banish another thing, right? Yeah, it's really good. So she can basically dome someone for 6 immediately, but she also has this ability to like counter stuff, negate stuff. So yeah, really good. We're also running Incapacitate. Yeah, for us, it's a 2-cost negate any action card. It's really good. We're also running Annul Spell. This is a 3-cost for us, negate any spell unless they pay 3. So this is still pretty good in Pantheon. You can really catch people off guard. Just keep in mind this is only a spell. Keep in mind that this is only a action card. Action cards are the cards that say action. Spells are cards that say spell. We also have Profane Bindings. This card is really good. It's a 2-cost, and it just negates any card activation flat. Just anything. But you also banish that card, and then you put this in the bottom of our champion's lineage, and our champion then gets a permanent -5, unless someone's able to remove this. It's a curse. So we basically negate anything, you banish it, get out of here, but then we get this -5 health. So it's still really powerful and worth the cost, in my opinion. Card is really good. Speaking of which, I think we'll just kind of, I have these 2 cards, and I guess I'll just call Control. I don't know, they're just kind of like interesting stuff. So we have Eternal Magistrate. This card is also absolutely disgusting in Pantheon. It's a 2-cost 1/3 imbue 2, and as long as this is imbued, cards can't leave your opponent's material decks unless it's their material phase. So they can't get their cheeky extra little materializes or anything like that. It makes it so like Dungeon Guides or Heavenly Guide, any of that stuff that let them cheat that, or any of their regalia that lets them just kind of like play it, like the Shadow's Claw, for example. Our opponents would not be able to activate their Shadow's Claws from outside of the material phase. So yeah, this is great, and it's also doesn't affect us, just affects our opponent. This will make you the enemy. People will hate you for playing this. This card is nuts, though. Just be careful what you do. But this is really good. It's really good. And we're also running a Sinister Mind Reaver, another card you've probably never seen before. 2-drop, 2/1. It's fast activation, which is really good for its effect. It has ambush. We already talked about how ambush is cracked in Pantheon. And it says on champion hit, you look at target opponents, or you look at that opponent's memory, and you can discard up to 2 cards from it. If you do, they draw that many cards in the memory. So basically what you do is if someone's attacking something, like it doesn't even have to be us, because retaliate, once again, just lets us retaliate against any attackers while not defending. We can play this fast activation and then smack them, right? And then we get to just look at their memory and then pick 2 cards and they yeet them, and then they get 2 cards to replace them. But presumably we're getting rid of 2 very powerful cards, and hopefully they get 2 stuff that's just like, who cares? So, yeah, really good. Yeah, that's great. Nice little trickaroo. Let's show some powerful removal next. So we have some removal. We have Guan Yu Prime Exemplar, and she is removal. She's a 5-cost 2/4, and as long as a human ally we control has died this turn, this card costs 2 less to activate, and we can activate it as though it had fast activation. We also have another way to do fast activation in the deck, but if one of our humans died, and I think almost all, if not all of our allies are humans, so if any of our things have died, we can, this costs 2 less and has fast activation. And this also has ambush, once again, ambush cracked, and then retort 2, which means it does an additional +2 while it's ambushing or retaliating. So this will retaliate for 4. So this is kind of like a nice sneaky slammer down, hit something for 4. It's really good. It's really, really good in Pantheon. All right, now we have Yuan Shao Crown General. This is a must-have, must-answer Pantheon card. Everyone should have a copy of this. You should probably put this in every deck. I think this card is busted, and it is just, it's so good in Pantheon. So it's a 3-cost, it's Norm element, which is why it's so good. It's 3-cost 1/3. It says unique allies your opponents control have Pride 2, which means they can't attack unless they're level 2 or more. More importantly, though, it has this effect. On level 2+, we can pay 3 and activate the effect. As a spell, permanently gain control of target unique ally. Activate this only if there are 3 or more unique allies on the field you don't control. So in a 4-player game, as long as there are at least 3 other unique allies out there, right? It's just, yeah, 3 or more. You can steal one of them, and it's permanent. It's not until end of turn. It literally doesn't say until end of turn or anything. You just permanently steal them. This card is nuts. It's nuts. It does count as a spell, so if something has like Spell Shroud or something, they will be protected from that. But generally speaking, this card is crazy, and there's a ton of just random unique allies out there. So yeah, Yuan Shao, get your copies. Buy your foils while they're only like $4. They're really, this card is so good. Next up, I'm running Innocuous Disposer. This is another assassin human, but this one also could just kill stuff by itself. I think this card is also really cracked in Pantheon. It's a 2-cost 1/1. It says its attacks can't be retaliated by human allies. Most allies are human, unless your opponent's playing like Tamer or something. It also says class bonus on ally hit. If the hit ally is a human, we can remove a prep counter, and if we do, destroy the hit ally. What's cool about this is it only triggers when it's hit, and then you can remove the prep counter. So as long as it like hits, you can't like lose the prep counter and then get got, right? Once you move the prep counter, the thing is dead, which is really good. And once again, there's a ton of just humans. Like I said, I think all of our allies are humans. So this is good. This is gonna kill a lot of stuff just for a 2-cost. If this kills one thing, I think you're happy. If this kills 2 or more, this is crazy value. Similarly, we have Deadly Opportunist. I should have this in foil, by the way. I will be getting this in foil. We have this Deadly Opportunist. It's a 3-cost 1/2, but it gets an additional +3 as long as it's attacking a rested ally. So this is just a good ally killer. It hits for 4. So this kills like, you know, Frostworn Paladins. It kills Gildas. It kills like so much stuff. It also just randomly has floating memory. So unassuming card, actually really, really good. We're also running Dream Fairy. Yep, Dream Fairy, just a nice way to just zoop something out of existence. It also has Stealth. Yeah, it's just a really solid, you know, ally eater. We're also running Stifling Trap, as you would guess. I mean, Stifling Trap's a staple. It deals 2 damage to an ally, then you negate all on-enter effects on the ally. So good way to just kind of like stifle someone's nasty on-enter effects. You can also just use it to just deal 2 damage. And then also, if it's not our turn, we can remove 2 prep counters from our champion, and we can activate this from our memory without paying us reserve cost. So we can also use our prep counters to just play this for free from our memory. It's very, very, very good. All right, let's talk about some spice here. Ravaging Tempest. This is an 8-cost card that no one plays, but I think obviously I think it's gonna be great in Pantheon. Has fast, which is also just randomly fast. Efficiency. So for us, we're probably going to be playing this at level 3. So this essentially will cost 5. It says banish all allies. For each ally banished this way, its controller draws a card. Now, if we have like 15 Ominous Shadows, plus whatever else we have, we can do this. Banish everything, and then we'll draw 15 cards. This card is kind of busted as well. Yeah, so if you can do a thing where you draw like 20 cards, you're probably just going to win the game on the spot. You're going to have so many ways to just, I don't know, probably attack your opponent for like a billion damage or something. Like, I don't know, you can sequence things where it's nasty. So, yeah, that's pretty good. And we also have Ensnaring Fumes. I think this card is also insanely cracked in Pantheon. It's a 5-cost. It has floating memory. It says return all allies to the owner's hand. It's fast speed. But also, it says you can remove free prep counters from your champion rather than pay its cost. So you can just remove free prep counters and just bounce everything. It also has floating memory. This card is cracked. Specifically important, this is an assassin's skill and not a spell. We have a card to get spells back, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So yeah, good stuff. Now we have, I'm just going to call these other removal, or just kind of like bounce type effects, except for the Siphoning Fractal. Siphoning Fractal is just insanely cracked, once again, in Pantheon. So the 2-cost, that just says, whenever an ally dies, deal 1 damage to target champion we don't control and recover 1. You can see how that's great in Pantheon, right? Whenever anything dies, we gotta shoot something for 1 and heal 1. Or shoot a champion for 1 and heal 1. Also has reservable because it's a fractal. Sure. Our Mana Rock also can kill our opponent. We have the Unstable Fractal. I think this is a staple. It's hindered, reservable, but we also pay 3 and sack it and destroy an item with memory cost 0 or reserve cost 5 or less. So this can blow up some pretty nasty stuff. Specifically, it can blow up Pendant of Accrual, which is going to be in literally every single deck. And you want to blow up your opponent's Pendant of Accrual because that thing can get out of control. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's great. Put this in all your Pantheon decks. Next we have Break Apart with the TCG player promo artwork. Yeah, once again, super efficient card. It's a 3-cost, destroy any item or weapon. And there's a lot of really, really powerful items and weapons. It'll cost 2 more to activate if it targets a Regalia, but we're willing to pay that to not die. So, great card. Next up we have Verdigris Decree. Super, super efficient. Well, not efficient. It's versatile. So it's a 3-cost fast, imbue 3. We choose 1. If it's imbued, we choose 2. You can suppress an ally, give one of our allies +2 attack for the turn, or destroy up to 1 target Fantasia. And if you do the imbue, you get to pick 2 of those. So blowing up Fantasia, great. Suppressing an ally, great. Those are probably the 2 most common ones, but getting +2, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Specifically, it's only ally. It's not unit, so we can't give our champion +2. But it does help with all of our other little champions that we want to attack with and kill stuff, like the Opportunist, or even like Guan Yu, or like the Imperial Spy, or Sadie, any of that good stuff. So yeah, this card is really good. Put it all in your Windex. We have Zephyr. You suppress an ally or Regalia. Yeah, this is great. You can use this to kind of suppress our own stuff if we want to get their enter effects again. We can use this on our opponent's stuff to get it out of the field for the turn. We can use this on Regalia to same deal. If you use this on a weapon Regalia when your opponent's attacking with no attack, it just blanks the attack, which is wild. So yeah, it's a staple. Well, for Pantheon, I'm a little bit iffier on the staple, but it's still really good. And we also have Escape the Wreckage. It's a 3-cost fast. Return an ally we control to the memory, and if we do, we draw a card into our memory. This is almost like a draw 2. Like, basically, we use this to save an ally that's probably going to be dying, and then we get to draw a card into the memory, and then we can replay that ally. And if the ally has a sweet enter effect, like, generate, like, killing something, or giving prep counters, or whatever, then, yeah, we get some good value. So, yeah, good stuff. Now let's speak about more value. The Circus of Value. So we have a bunch of draw stuff. So Sanctified Paladin, this comes in every starter deck, or Pantheon Precon. It's insanely good. It's a 6-cost 0/1. It says Foster. As long as it is fostered, it gets +3/+3 and has Vigor. And then on Foster, draw 2 cards. This is the reason why you might want to consider just a regular basic draw 7 Spirit, because if you do, and then you draw Sanctified Paladin as one of your first 7 cards, you can play this on turn 1, and there's a extremely high chance it gets back around to you, becomes fostered, and then you get to draw 2 cards, which is so good. But I still think this is like not bad, like later in the game as well. We have a lot of ways to protect our stuff, and so I still think the Sanctified Paladin is really good, and you can kind of make some deals here or there too. So making this a 3/4 and that draws you 2 cards is pretty good. Ooh, Cyclical Breeze. This card is really cool. So it's a 4-cost slow speed. For us, it's just going to be 4 costs. If we're a mage or a cleric, it'll cost 2. Those classes should probably play this as well. This says return target wind element spell card from our graveyard to our hand. All right. So we can return Zephyr. We can return Verdigris Decree. We can return not Ensnaring Fumes, but we can get Ravaging Tempest back because it is a spell. There's a few other ones that are also extremely good that we can get back. So hold on. There's also Beseech the Winds. We can get back. We can get back Conjuring Fluorescence. These both let us play cards from our material deck. We can get back we can get back Innervate Agility. So we can get back Innervate Agility and a Spell Shield Wind. So there's like I think 8 maybe, if I remember off the top of my head, cards that we can get back, and they're all like really good. I think Zephyr's probably the worst one, but yeah, there's a lot of great stuff, including our giant board wipe. So this card's really good. All right, Pendant of Accrual. Yeah, this card's busted, but it's in every single Pantheon Precon, so it's really easy to get. So it's a 2-cost. At the beginning of each opponent's Reco phase, they may pay 2. If they don't, put a debt counter on this card, and you can rest this or remove 2 debt counters, and then draw a card in your memory. And so basically, this is kind of like the heuristic study for Grand Archive. You're gonna have to be like, hey, you're gonna pay the 2. You're gonna pay the 2, and this gets out of control, like absolutely out of control. This is, you want to kill this if your opponent plays this card. Next up we have Juggle Knives, really simple card. It's a 2-cost card, deals with damage to a champion, and draws a card. Just replaces itself, and I think it's just really nice and efficient for Pantheon. Also pops barriers, anything that's like, prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to your opponent, and you just pop them for 1, and or the next instance of damage is prevented, and you just pop it. Anyway, it's good. It's a good card. We also have Exploit Vulnerability. We talked about this before. It's a 2-cost draw card, and then if it was prepared, one of your assassins, if it hits a thing, it kills it, basically. If it hits an ally, it kills it. It's really good. We have a lot of assassin units. Why do I like these cards? Well, because they are like cheap costed cards that replace themselves and have an okay effect. And I think that's kind of where you want to be with Pantheon. If they just had like one effect here or there, or just a draw card, no, it's not good enough. But I think because they have an added effect, they can be good. Juggle Knives is the least of them, but it's still like not too bad. It's probably one that I would cut first, but I really like Exploit Vulnerability. It basically it replaces itself, and it gives us the ability to kill something with one of our assassin units. We also have Expeditious Opening. This is similar, by the way. These are all kind of like along the same vein. This one is a 2-cost fast speed. The next ally we activate this turn, we can activate as though it had fast activation. So this is a great way to just slam out any of our allies at like fast speed. Like you can slam out our Yuan Shou at fast speed and then steal something like immediately. You can do some nice tricky stuff with this card. Also, it draws a card in your memory. So good effect and replaces itself. Yeah, sweet. All right, now we have our material deck cheats. We have Dungeon Guide. Yeah, it just lets you, it just lets us level up, and we have a lot of cards that we want to level up with the 2 different Tristan. So Dungeon Guide's obviously insanely good. Academy Guide, actually insanely broken in Pantheon. Get your copies of this card. It just says champion cards and materials cost 1 less to materialize. You want to play this as early as possible and get so much value out of it. And since we have ways to D-level, and we have additional champions to level up into, we get a ton of value out of Academy Guide. I've played this before in some other Pantheon decks, and it's always like one of the best cards. This card's so good. And then we have Heavenly Guide, which actually is really good in Pantheon because it says if we're level 2+, on enter, if an opponent controls a non-spirit champion with a card on top of its lineage that wasn't played, so if you got it from like a dungeon guide, for example, we get to level up our champion. So there's a good chance that someone's going to play dungeon guide over the course of a Pantheon game, and then you can play your heavenly guide, and then we just level up our champion. Or if someone's already heavenly guided, we can heavenly guide after they heavenly guide. So it's I don't know, it's really good. And once again, all this stuff is extra good for us because we have so many champion levels here. And then we have our 2 wind ones. So we have Beseech the Winds, 3 costs, materialize a card from a material deck. You still pay for the costs. Great. We can level up. We can get any one of our other regalias or anything. It's really good. Yeah. And then we have Conjuring Fluorescence, which is kind of like a weaker version of Beseech the Winds. It's a 3 cost, but it has Exalted, which means we can only do this once we have Umbra active. You can ignore the Merlin bonus, but it just says materialize a Regalia card from a material deck. So we can't materialize a champion, but we can materialize a Regalia. So anything else basically, any of our other stuff. So we can get like our Mantle or Ripper or Dagger. Probably not the Poison, probably not the Shadow's Claw. But we can get one of these other ones. So yeah, one of my favorite ones to get with Beseech the Winds, by the way, is just getting out Windwalker Boots. Super good. Starts getting us prep counters, and we can cash it in for draw later. That's what I usually get with Beseech the Winds, unless I want to level up. All right, now the rest are defensive cards. This is going to be a really long video, but I just want to kind of go over it. This is my first Pantheon deck, okay? So we have a couple Pantheon-only cards that you can find in the precons. So we have Covert Manipulator. 3 cost, 2/2, class bonus, so only for assassins. This is an assassin human. On enter, look at the top card of each opponent's deck. Then you can choose an opponent. If you do, we get Crowd's Favor. So we'll talk about this in just a moment. That opponent draws the card, and then each of our other opponents puts the top card of their deck into the graveyard. So basically, we look at all our opponent's stuff, we pick one person to draw that card, and everyone else mills that card. And then we get the Crowd's Favor. Crowd's Favor is a really nasty status. So you just get this. It's a just like a status. It says, whenever an opponent gains Crowd's Favor status, you lose this status. So only one person can have this at a time. Players can't declare attacks against an object we control unless they pay an additional 1 for each attack declaration. Whenever an activation, materialization, or trigger targets an object we control, you negate it unless the controller pays 1. So anything that targets us costs an additional 1. Anytime they attack us, it costs an additional 1. This card is annoying as hell. It's really good. And so yeah, this is one of the ways we can get it. The other way we can get it is Shared Fervor. Most decks are going to run this. 1 cost, each player draws a card in the memory. We gain Crowd's Favor. Yeah, it's just really good. We also have Enervate Agility. We talked about this before. It's a 2 cost, and as an additional cost, we have to de-level our champion, which means we put it, return the top card of its lineage to the material deck. So we can actually play it again. This is actually like a positive thing. So we can actually get it again and then get the, on-enter effect of Shadow Dancer or on-enter effect of Shadow Reaver like a second time. And we also recover 5. And then it says units we control gain either Stealth or Spell Shroud until end of turn. So this is a way that protects us, while also gives us some advantage. It's good. It's also a spell, so we can get it back with that 1 card. Next up we have Coronation Ceremony. 3 cost, fast speed, cost 2 less if it targets a unique ally, and then it gets Spell Shroud. But target unit gets Spell Shroud. So we can give this Spell Shroud to our champion or any other champion too. So you can use this as a political thing to give your opponent Spell Shroud. Most Pantheon decks should probably be running this card. Next up we have Parsonet, art by Faicha. Yo! You can definitely tell like his art style too. So this is a 2 cost 1/3, level 2+ it has Stealth, and then it's also Assassin, which is relevant. And then we can activate our effect, Glimpse 1, reveal the top card of our deck. Whenever we reveal a wind element this card this way, another ally we control gains Stealth. This is a really, really good way to protect really powerful allies like Blanche, or our General, or the General, or like our Disposer. Just great way to give any of our things that don't have stealth, so it makes it just really hard to attack. So just good stuff. We get to kind of smooth our draws, but also protect our dudes. So Parsenet's really good. And then we also have Blanche, which is every deck should be running Blanche as well. It's a 2 cost 1/2. fast activation on level 2, and then it says if another unit we control will be dealt non-attack damage, we prevent an amount of that damage equal to the number of cards in our memory. So just crazy protection card. I think everyone should be running Blanche. I'm glad I picked these all up when they were like $1 back when FTC first came out and no one played her. These are like 12 or more these days. I don't even know. They're a lot. So yeah, get your Blanches. Now we have the Safeguard Paragon. This is kind of like my alternative Safeguard Amulet because I'm not running it in my material deck. It's a 3-cost 1/2, and you can sack it and prevent the next 4 non-combat damage to be dealt to each unit we control this turn. So yeah, just a nice little way to protect our board. We have Crystallized Destiny. It's just a 3-cost that prevents the next time we would take damage. And that damage could be like 20, and it would prevent all of it. So it's like the next instance of damage that we take. If it prevents 7 or more damage, then cards our opponents activate this turn also cost 2 more to activate, which is great. So good way to prevent a giant chunk of damage to our face. And then we also have Spell Shield Wind, which also helps prevent a giant chunk of damage to our face. So it's a 4-cost. It says the next time we would take damage this turn, prevent all of it, and if we prevent 3 or more, we get a buff counter on one of our allies. So we have a couple ways to prevent just giant chunks of damage. We have some ways to prevent damage across our board, ways to prevent our allies from getting attacked, ways to give ourselves a spell shield, or in this case, stealth as well, or spell shroud, and then stealth. So we have a nice little smattering of ways to protect ourselves, because I feel like you're going to need that in Pantheon. And yeah, that's the deck. We just want to have really big, powerful effects. We have our prep counter generators. We have our cards that help us kill stuff. We have cards that help us, survive. And then we want to just finish things off with our powerful attacks, or just kind of like chipping out our opponents with our allies in combination with the shadows and stuff like the poison dagger. Yeah. So yeah, this deck is really, really fun, and I'm stoked to bring this. I'm going to be bringing this to Ascent LA and jamming a bunch of Pantheon games, and maybe some in the Discord as well. The Rogues Gallery community Discord. Always have a link in the description down below. Down below. So let's talk about a couple of the other cards that I was considering before we end the video here, and we'll talk about this really quickly. We already talked about some of the material deck cards that I was considering, but here's some of the main deck cards. Brackish Ludist. It just nukes all things with floating memory. This card's really good and will make people hate you. There's another one that you want to pick up for Pantheon, but I decided not to include this. We have a few cards with floating memory, and also I think this just makes you a big target. We already have enough of that in the deck. We have Nimble Court Assassin. This is one card that was included in all the Pantheon precons. It's pretty solid. It's a 5-drop, but you have to have your advanced element activated. It's a 4/4 with Ambush and Vigor. So you can hit your opponent for something, and then it stands back up at the end of turn. And also we get Agility 3, which just synergizes with our deck. So this one was one that I had to cut, but I didn't want to. I really wanted to include this one. Cloaked Executioner, same deal. It has Ambush. Anything with Ambush in Pantheon is just crazy good, like I mentioned. This also has fast activation. We have our kind of like our little card draw dudes. I just cut these because they didn't have as much of a big effect as I wanted in Pantheon. It's just like a little 1/1 that just randomly dies to like everything going on. And it's just I don't know, for Pantheon, when you don't have a critical mass of this, and a critical mass of ways to get this back, I just feel like the value isn't there. You want to have like a bigger effects, right? Or cards that, trade for opponent's stuff, like killer stuff. This is okay, but I kind of chose not to run it. Same thing for the Sirocco Operative. I probably would have put the Operative in here if we had a lot more automatons to get that prep counter as well. Mystic Purifier, I felt we just had other ways to deal with Fantasias, but I think this is one that could make it into the deck eventually as I refine things and maybe people play more Fantasias. And then finally, I don't know, I like this card, but I'm not sure. So it's a 2-cost slow speed ranger skill. Each player may reveal a champion card with base level 3 from the material deck. Each player that does draws a card in the memory and heals 2. Why this is cool is because we can do this with a level 3 champion already and still get the effect, because we'll still probably have another level 3 champion to reveal unless we've done both of them, obviously. So if we've already leveled up into Shadow Reaver, we can play this and reveal the Shadow Dancer and still get the effect, which I think is kind of cool. So it gives us a little bit of an edge over our opponents, but I decided to cut that one just for the debut of this deck. And so, yeah, that is my very first Pantheon Tristan deck. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And happy Pantheon and Pantheoning. Have fun in the arena, I guess. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.